The Indiana Pacers kept insisting this team was different. Anyone who doubted them coming into the playoffs understands now. On Friday, the one-year anniversary of a historic playoff collapse against Cleveland, Indiana flipped the script by rallying from a 17-point halftime deficit and held on for a 92-90 victory over the Cavaliers to take a 2-1 lead in the best-of-7 series. They can take command of the series by winning Sunday on their home court. Last year's team, I don't know if we would have gone down 17, I don't know if we would have overcome it, forward Thaddeus Young said. But this team, we've been resilient all year. We've overcome adversity. And on Friday they did it against a Cavaliers team that was 39-0 in the regular when leading after 3 quarters. Bojan Bogdanovic scored 19 of his playoff career-high 30 points in the second half, finishing 7 of 9 on three-pointers. Victor Oladipo added 18 points, 6 rebounds and 7 assists. Bogdanovic also spent most of the game defending LeBron James, who finished with 28 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists and 6 turnovers. He joined Michael Jordan as the only players in league history with 100 double-doubles in the postseason. Jordan had 109. James almost single-handedly rallied his team twice from 7-point deficits in the final 3.5 minutes. The three-time defending Eastern Conference champs were outscored 52-33 over the final 24 minutes. We were more aggressive in the first half. We had tempo, they didn't, James said. Then they were more aggressive in the second half, they had tempo, and we didn't. Young is one of the few players still around from the record-breaking 26-point collapse last year, which is one reason coach Nate McMillan has continually opted not to discuss it. After the Pacers cut the 57-40 halftime deficit to 69-63 at the end of 3, the Pacers continued to apply pressure and eventually Bogdanovic finally broke through with a 4-point play that gave Indiana an 81-77 lead with 6:10 left. It was Indiana's first lead since midway through the first quarter. He was far from finished. Bogdanovic knocked down another 3 to make it a 7-point game. Then, after James countered with 7 straight to tie the score, Bogdanovic scored on a layup and hit his final 3 before Young's layup made it 91-84 with 53 seconds to go. James and Kevin Love made back-to-back threes to make it 91-90, and Cleveland got one more chance after Darren Collison missed the second free throw with 5 seconds left. But Junior Smith's 38-foot heave came up short. "It's great to be on the other end," Miles Turner said. "You never want to get down that far and have to try and come back. To be down in that position is not ideal. The resiliency of this team, it's unbelievable." Number 8 Wizards 122, Number 1 Raptors 103. All of about 2.5 minutes into the game, Washington forward Markieff Morris and Toronto's Og Anunoby needed to be separated after a near fight that drew in other players. Early in the third quarter Friday night, Raptors guard Kyle Lowry was called for a flagrant foul when he swiped a hand across Bradley Beal's forehead as the Wizards guard went in for a breakaway layup. Later in that period, things really came close to spiraling out of control, but John Wall's bodyguard interceded when Washington's all-star jawed with Toronto's Serge Ibaka. As that scene unfolded on the court, spectators directed USA chants at the opponents from Canada, and Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA blared over the arena's speakers. Amid all the ruckus, Beal and Wall kept their heads and helped the Wizards pull further and further away for a 122-103 victory. What was once a dull, lopsided series is suddenly quite interesting. Beal heeded his coach's plea to do his job by scoring 21 of his 28 points in the first half. Wall delivered 28 points and 14 assists, and the 8th-seeded Wizards cut their Eastern Conference first-round playoff deficit to 2-1. "We're not going out to try to box every game," Beal said, before describing Morris as a bully with a smile. Added Beal, "We came out tonight with an edge about ourselves." After letting the Raptors grab the first 2-0 series lead in franchise history, the Wizards came home and checked off every box coach Scott Brooks presented. They got Beal more involved after he made only 3 shots in Game 2. They actually led after the first quarter, 30-29. They produced 19 turnovers that led to 28 points. "They came out and punched us," Toronto coach Dwayne Casey said. "And we allowed them to." He meant that figuratively, of course, but the choice of words sure seemed apparent. The Raptors did appear to take the worst of the physical nature of the game. DeMar DeRozan, who led Toronto with 23 points, wore a Band-Aid under his right eye afterward. Reserve Pascal Siakam held a bag of ice over a cut on his lip that required 3 stitches. "Ain't nobody fighting out here," said Lowry, who had 19 points and 8 assists. "I mean, it got physical, but ain't nobody fighting. It's a heated moment, but that's the game of basketball." Each team boasts a pair of elite, all-star guards. This time, Washington's pair came out on top. The start initially had the look of "here we go again," as Toronto moved ahead 27-18. The Raptors, after all, outscored Washington by an average of 11 points in the first period over games 1 and 2. But this time, Washington responded with a 12-point run capped by Beal's 3 with under a minute left. Beal scored 12 in the quarter a day after he, Wall and Brooks met to discuss ways to get Beal more involved in the offense. Entering Friday, Beal was averaging only 14 points in the playoffs, well below his 22.6 average during the regular. "We need both our guys to step up," Brooks said about Beal and Wall. "It was good tonight. Number 7 Bucks 116, number 2 Celtics 92. Chris Middleton scored 23 points, Giannis Antetokounmpo added 19 and the Milwaukee Bucks used a dominating first half to overwhelm the Boston Celtics 116-92 on Friday night, narrowing their deficit in the first-round playoff series to 2-1. Eric Bledsoe and Jabari Parker each added 17 for the energized Bucks, who held the Celtics without a field goal for nearly an 11-minute stretch of the first half. Milwaukee found its defense after a disheartening 14-point loss in Game 2, getting contributions from up and down the roster. Backup center Thon Maker scored 14 points and blocked 5 shots. Pesky guard Matthew Dellavedova, a veteran of a championship run with the Cleveland Cavaliers, helped hold young Celtics point guard Terry Rozier to 9 points on 2 of 7 shooting. Al Horford scored 16 for the Celtics, who fell behind by 23 at halftime and got no closer than 76-62 with 3:06 left in the third quarter on Jason Tatum's three-pointer. The game was so well in hand that the Bucks closed out the victory even with Antetokounmpo on the bench for much of the fourth quarter. With 5 fouls, Middleton had 8 points in the fourth. Game 4 is Sunday in Milwaukee. The Celtics will need to get off to a much better start if they want to avoid going home for Game 5 with a 2-2 series tie. Milwaukee hustled for loose balls and stayed active around the paint, used its length to get deflections and disrupt Boston in the lane. The 7 feet 1 inch Maker, in particular, provided a huge boost to help Milwaukee counter what had been a decisive edge off the bench for the Celtics. Maker got extended minutes only because starting center John Henson missed the game with a sore back. Nearly everything else went Milwaukee's way, too. Parker, who voiced displeasure this week after playing just 24 minutes over the first 2 games, was 7 of 12 from the field and played 30 minutes. Bledsoe, outplayed by Rozier in the first 2 games, shot 8 of 13.